If I asked you right now who you thought were some of the most efficient guards in the league this year, who would you say? Would you say a guy who's been regarded as one of the worst players in the league by many casual fans, the meme of the NBA, a guy whose antics supposedly tarnished him as a player and caused him to not receive a contract offer from his former team? Because if you did say that guy, you would be right. As of recording this video on the 6th of November, Dillon Brooks is tied with Stephen Curry for true shooting percentage this season at 75.2%. Now obviously, the volume levels between those two are very different and it's very early on, but that's not the point. Dillon Brooks has been by far one of the better three-point shooters to begin this season, and is immediately having his impact felt on the Rockets franchise, a team of which he joined in free agency on a contract deemed as a major overpay. But not only is Brooks shooting well from range, but he's also making plays like this.
Thought about it, did Shingun, now to Brooks, blows by Barnes, got to the rim and stuffed it down on Herter.
Houston are fired up right now, currently on a 3-game winning streak and building into the season strongly despite a rough start, and Dillon Brooks has been a key part of that. In today's video, I want to break down the incredible recent play of Dillon Brooks by analysing some film, looking at his offensive and defensive habits in EMA Udoka's system to ultimately understand how he's rapidly becoming a cornerstone piece in the Houston Rockets' bid for a potential playoff push. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. But with that being said, let's talk about Dillon Brooks. The intangibles that Brooks brings to Houston is a big reason why I find his signing to be so genius, and why it doesn't really shock me that he's playing so well for us. He hasn't been purely brought in to produce, in my opinion, because the energy he brings off the court with his leadership and on the court with his heart, hustle and antics are so valuable for such a young team who have been in need of a veteran figure. His swagger and trash talk are shifting the culture in Houston in a positive direction, bringing out the best of guys like Jalen Green, who thrive and lean on that kind of energy on the court. I think if you've watched any of the Rockets games this season, bar their season opener, you'll see the impact that Brooks is having on the young guys, even though it doesn't typically always show up in the stat sheet. However, there's obviously some more going on than just the intangibles, otherwise I wouldn't be making this video. I think it's important to take a dive into Dillon Brooks' defensive impact for Houston specifically though, because if you haven't sat through Houston's opening 6 games or are just a casual fan, you may assume that Brooks is a poor defender, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Sure, he got done in by Steph Curry pretty badly, but what good NBA defender hasn't? So, let's take a look. Statistically, Brooks is probably Houston's best defender, averaging nearly a steal and a half per game, and sitting behind only Shingun for starters for defensive rating at about 104. Obviously, it's just a small sample size so far, and advanced stats can swing a lot early on in the season, but I think the film should give you plenty of reason to believe that Brooks' defensive impact is going to be felt all season long, and this isn't just a fluke. Against Charlotte, Brooks had the clamps on, racking up 5 steals as his high level of intensity disrupted the Hornets' ball handlers and forced them into countless errors. Like in this clip here, Brooks reads the loping pass well and grabs it out of the air. However, despite briefly fumbling and losing possession, he makes another intense second effort to knock the ball away from JT Thor and secure possession for the Rockets. These kind of efforts go a long way and demonstrate to a young team how to make an impact on that end. This defensive leadership and tenacity is particularly important in Houston as they've been horrific at providing any defensive effort in the last couple seasons. Trust me, I know. So this is great to see. Even in a play like this one here, Brooks doesn't get a steal or a stat of any measure, but he fights hard over the screen, sticks to his man in Hayward, and disrupts the play, forcing the Hornets into a bad shot late in the shot clock. His physicality and timing on these plays should be appreciated more. The rap he gets as a bad defender is pretty dumb to me, because I think it's easily the best attribute in his game. It's not just reading plays and getting steals though that are the perks of Brooks' defensive IQ and physicality, but also his ability to stick with his man and contest shots at a high level has been great too this season. Like here, he forces LaMelo Ball into a tough weird floater shot after sticking with him and running alongside him as Melo attempted a drive. Or here, he chases Theo Maledon off a three-point line, changes direction on a dime to stick with him, and ends up forcing him into a poor shot for the Hornets. It's simply fantastic defense. To further prove this point, the stats are backing up Brooks too. In the first game of their mini 2-game series against Sacramento, Kings players were held to just 7 for 18 shooting from the field when guarded by Dillon Brooks. That's 38%. It highlights how impressive Brooks has really been on this end of the floor and is something that I believe, as I've said, deserves more appreciation. The media are quick to jump on him and post videos of him getting faked out by Steph Curry, but we won't hear a thing when he racks up 5 steals in one game and clamps up a team's best scorer for a full 48 minutes, and that's a damn shame to me. As I mentioned right at the start of the video though, Brooks has also been excellent offensively this season, shooting the hell out of the ball. Since his shot was criticized heavily in the playoffs last season, seeing him knock down 3-pointers at an outrageous clip of almost 60% is great to see, and if it can be maintained to a decent degree, it should continue to shut a lot of his haters up. Obviously, I can't say this 60% clip is sustainable, but I do think there's a good chance that Brooks finishes this season shooting over 40% from behind the 3-point line, putting him in the same territory as a lot of other elite shooters in the league. To understand why Brooks has suddenly become so efficient, I think we should look no further than EMA Udoka's system. Udoka understands the immense gravity of his star players like Şengün and Jalen Green, so having him run plays for them puts Brooks into favourable positions as a spot-up shooter, particularly on the weak side. Like here, 3 Kings players are surrounding Şengün in the paint, so he smartly kicks it out and then gets swung around quickly to Brooks, who takes advantage of the open triple opportunity. Udoka has also given Brooks freedom to maximize his biggest strength, that being his physicality. So he's given the opportunity to back down his defender for shots near the basket, and even has plays run for him that get him downhill attacking the paint, where he can easily absorb contact and finish strongly with momentum. Specifically, take this example. On this sideline out of bounds play, the Rockets get Brooks open and into a one-on-one situation against a smaller and weaker defender, who Brooks bodies easily in the paint and scores over the top of. It's these kind of opportunities that have made Brooks so efficient and confident alongside the Rockets' young stars, and it's why he has slid into the starting lineup so seamlessly thus far. Statistically, the effective fit and impact he's having on Houston is evident too. Brooks ranks second on the team in net rating, behind only Şengün, with a plus 11.9, and Houston's offensive rating is a whopping 15.7 points better when he's on the floor compared to when he's off it. Again, it's a small sample size, but it is a great indication of Brooks' consistency and efficiency to begin this season. Now, I should preface this video by saying that it's not all been sunshine and rainbows for the Rockets and Brooks himself. The opening game against Orlando was straight up embarrassing, and the first 3 games of the season as a whole were brutal to take as a fan of the team. But the Rockets of seasons past would have fallen into the dumps after a start like that and lost track of their season, whereas now they're learning from these tough L's and immediately rebounding. Currently on a 3-game winning streak. The momentum they've built after the rough start has culminated in back-to-back blowouts of the Sacramento Kings, a genuine playoff side. And I say that even though they didn't have De'Aaron Fox. To me, Brooks has inarguably been a significant reason why the Rockets have turned things around so quickly, thanks to his leadership style and the energy he brings on both sides of the floor. To put it simply, his effort is contagious and has, in part, prevented the Rockets from being bogged down by a losing streak like they have in prior seasons. The Rockets are entering a new chapter in this era, a new phase in this rebuild, and I have to say, I am grateful that Dillon Brooks is going to be a part of it. If you made it this far, you must have enjoyed this analysis, so be sure to like the video and subscribe for more NBA content like this. But with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.